What's going on, y'all? Charles here from the Traders Corner. Just going to take y'all through a quick forecast of what I'm looking at going into this week. So let's get into it.
How you feeling?
Bro, it was great. No, it was great. It was better than I expected.
excellent. It was
Exactly
great.
better than I expected.
All right, y'all. So as I said, just going to do a quick peek into what I'm looking at this week. So just going to start on the weekly and just kind of just go down the line on a few pairs. I'm not going to do all 7 pairs, but just a few pairs, and hopefully, you glean one lesson from it. So just on the Aussie right now, we can see we have these highs and these lows as well. Looking for us to see if we can revisit these highs, or we could possibly come back lower to these lows and break them and go lower, or come back lower, double bottom, and move higher. Getting down to the daily, you can see that like we've been rising in a very much ascending fashion. So if we put this on and this on as well, you can see that ascending there. And then also on the daily, I can see this. And then I'll just copy it for right now and see if it makes sense. I'll put that like that. And then we're going to go down to the 4-hour, see if that makes sense based on the price action. So on the 4-hour, it makes, no, let me fix this. Sorry, I was looking at my screen, not looking at the thing. So yeah, this makes more sense, right? Got a nice wedge pattern going on here. And at this point, we could definitely break higher to see us try to complete that pattern up there, right? Honestly, if we were to complete this pattern, let me zoom out to the daily and check. Yeah, if we were to complete this pattern like up there somewhere, I would definitely need to see a bit more confirmation. Even though this is a completed pattern, it's kind of just a completed pattern. Like, so if we go back out to the weekly, like that would be a completed pattern, just like, I don't know how this got all the way down there. That would be a completed pattern, honestly, just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like, yes, like we're around this area of consolidation. We have this wick here, cool, but I would much rather see it up here or at something like so, because I can tell that that's actually like a more double top, right? But like it would be much better if it was like something up here or it's a more significant double top. So like with that being said, I'm definitely gonna wait for like more confirmation just to kind of avoid trying to like call the tops and the bottoms. Right now we're at a significant double top, as we can see that this was a significant area of support on the daily, right? The daily chart couldn't get past it, here, struggled to get past it, broke below, and then turned it into resistance. So this is a good area to be looking at right now, especially with the fact that we have a completed pattern. I'm currently in a trade on Aussie, but I'm just doing this now on the chance that I get stopped and stopped. I get tagged out, because right now it looks like it's honestly about to tag me out. My stop loss is somewhere in this area. So basically, if we come back up, tag me out, and then push lower again, and then we form a flag, or if we get the right type of double top, or just a double top, then I'll look to re-enter. But otherwise, we definitely could drop out, and then at that point, I'll just look for something like so. Trying to get better about waiting for a little bit more confirmation from the market. I feel like sometimes I jump in early, try to call the tops, try to call the bottoms. It was very much like a part of my old strategy, and like it was fine for that, just because it was so quick and intraday, I guess is what you would say. But with Falcon, it's much more swing style, which is the way I wanted it. I changed to Falcon for that, like mostly for that reason, because I knew that like to me trading was something where I didn't want to be at the computer all the time. And like Falcon, you can like it can become basically whatever you want it to be. Like when I mean the strategy, you can be a bit more aggressive and make it more intraday. You know, you might not take all the like, you know, a lot of great opportunities, but like there'll be opportunities in the market, or you can kind of just like take a little bit more of a step back, make it more swing style and make it more like set and forget type style. And that really like appealed to me. And like you know, it's definitely one aspect that I like about it is that, like the fact that I can make it way more set and forget. And so just yeah. Now getting into the CAD, USD CAD. Just doing some back testing today. On the weekly, we can see that we visited these double tops up here, which is great. And we're looking to come back lower to this low around here, or this one. Doesn't really matter. Basically that area. So that's the weekly. The daily, on the daily, you can see that we got this nice push. So basically, this was the pattern. This was a pattern right here. And I was seeing if we could get a move back up here. Didn't get it. Just got a nice daily push out impulsively, and we got an impulsive close. So, you know, if we get continuation to continue lower, I'm definitely willing to take that, you know, to accept the risk on that. Basically what I'm saying, if I were to take that trade and, you know, lose, that's one that I would be like, oh, I take that 10 times out of 10 again, especially the way that this dropped out of this pattern. You know, it's below this low here. We formed the correction below the low here. On top of that, yeah, we're at these lows. But if I'm going to let every low stop me from taking a flag, I'll pretty much never take a flag. On top of that, like I would be taking the flag from the top of the flag and not so much down closer to the lows. So if we were to even like, let's say it tags me in and then just like reverses, I would probably have, especially this being on the 4 hour, probably have more than enough time to move it to break even and get the risk off the table. If I see that something, it looks like something's changing. Then on the 1 hour, basically we got the completion, like the type of it wasn't perfect. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the fact that it went up this strongly, I probably would have been wanting to wait for something a little bit better anyway, just because of the fact that we could break back inside that pattern and go higher and revisit those highs, but we don't have to. But regardless, you know, with it moving up in this fashion, I would have rather see it, you know, push lower, form a flag, then take it, or take a double top. You know, regardless, that all happened at the end of Friday. I don't trade at the end of Friday. I will take a trade in the morning on Friday, just because like there's more people in the market, like people are still left over from like, you know, some of the earlier sessions, what have you. But when you get to the end of the day on Friday, and I'm not saying that the market can't move any certain days, but it's really more just about the spread for me. Like I remember I was looking at the spreads on Friday afternoon, like, because I think it was like Trump was talking. So I was honestly just like looking at the chart, seeing if anything was happening to it, just out of like honest curiosity. And I remember like looking at the spreads, and the spreads were like way higher than they usually are, which is to be expected. There's less people trading in the market. And so when there's less people trading, it's harder for your broker to go out there and find the opposite side of your trade. So the spreads are going to be higher. So that's why I like don't trade in the afternoon on Friday. But like I'll be in a trade on Friday. Like I don't mind if a trade presents itself at like 6, 7. Like I'm not trying to put like a time limit on it. But basically, while the spreads are there, the spreads are still there and like relatively decent, I'll take a trade. The minute they start getting higher, I start to back up, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to be like tagged in and tagged out of a position that like didn't actually commit to itself, for example, stuff like that. So, but just getting back to this, since this all happened at, you know, Friday afternoon, it kind of saved me from having to make that decision in the first place anyway. It was kind of very simple. I was like, well, I mean, it's Friday afternoon, so I'm not going to trade it anyway. Like that's what's in my plan. But that being said, if we get a nice tight correction, I would definitely look to take that. You know, we have room to the downside here, right? Oof, actually, now that I put the risk reward tool on, and this is why I do something like this, I don't know that I would take this just because of the low that we were talking about. Honestly, it might be better for me to wait based on my rules, because my rules are basically around the areas that price is in within structure, within the current structure that it's in. So based on this area and the area that it's going to be approaching, it actually might be better for me to wait for us to revisit here and take a trade from there. Doesn't have to happen. We could definitely just drop out to the downside. But in the case that we just drop out, I'll just take the next correction, just because if you look at it, like, yes, I would miss this move. Cool, whatever. I missed the move. But if you go back out to the daily, I'm looking for this to come all the way down here. So if I miss a little bit of this, even if it drops out to 132.0 and then gives me, like, that's very much an exaggeration, but I'm just trying to make a point. If this were to drop out to 132.0 and then give me a perfect setup, I'm not going to be mad at that at all. Like, obviously I'll be like, oh my God, like all these pips, like blah, 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 all this stuff, yada, yada. Because, I'm still in that point in my trading. Like I'm trying to overcome it. But honestly, like I'm trying to tell myself, what do you care really? Because even from 132.0 all the way to 120, like that's a ridiculous amount of pips. And obviously I'm not going to get all of them, and it's not all going to go in one move if I get it. If I get any of a move or if it moves at all. Basically what I'm saying is there's so much opportunity to the downside that I would much rather have some confirmation from the market and let it, kind of show me its hand and show me what it's thinking about doing next. So that's like the CAD. And then I'm gonna go to Euro JPY. I'm also in a trade on Kiwi USD and also Euro USD. I would show you those, but it's pretty much the same thing that I showed you on Aussie, barring like a few like discrepancies here and there that aren't really like, important for right now. But in a trade for those as well, looking like those as well will be stop outs. But again, it's kind of like I was saying with Aussie, same thing with Euro and Kiwi. There would be stop outs that would kind of like possibly set me up for even better opportunities to take another trade from. So if they're stop outs, that's fine. Probabilities, cool. I would take each of those trades again. But if we just get down to Euro, we'll just end it with Euro today. We can see on Euro, we have this type of formation here, right? We could put this on. Now it makes sense. But honestly, just for right now anyway, I'm gonna just rein this in for anyway, just because, we already have that structure right there. And I know that it's there. Ultimately with Euro, JPY, seeing if we can honestly complete this move to the downside, see if we can complete this 90% rule, So basically what I'm saying is you put that on, then you put that on. Oh, that's the wrong thing. So you put this bottom one on that I already put on here. Right, cool. And then technically, because we did move off, we could put that on as well. And then that as well. So looking for that to complete to the downside. But this being so long ago and like so, it was like 2011. I'm not really worried about that so much, but more so what's going on like right now within this pattern, right? And this is kind of one of those situations where it's good to have rules when price action can be confusing. Me being a price action trader and like strictly a price action trader from the time that I've been a trader, that's one thing I would definitely say is when you trade based on how something looks, and like while you're, you always want to say like, oh, I trade based on rules, like cool, but your rules are still based on how something looks. If you trade price action, like that's just how it is. Like if you trade price patterns like I do, you're trading based on a pattern, how something looks. You're trading like, I trade flags. So I'm trading based on the flag that price looks like a flag. D Hart, for example, trades on indicators. He trades on the base of the fact that I forget which EMAs he uses exactly, but the 20 EMA is in trend. This EMA is in trend. That EMA is in trend. The TDI is doing X, Y, and Z. It's way easier for him to just be like, yeah, it's going up. Yeah, that's going up. Yeah, that's going up. And then that's not doing what I want it to do because it's just an indicator. Me with price action, I have to make a decision based on what I'm seeing, right? And then that's why we always say there's no one right way to trading, especially when it comes to price action, because what you might see, I might not see, and I might see it a little bit differently than you. So, this is when situations like this, getting back to what I was saying, situations like this is when it's important to have, like, for me to have rules to describe what to do in situations of confusion. So it's like, if I'm confused about the area that I'm in, I have a rule for that. If I'm confused about what the higher time frame might be telling me based on the fact that I have a lot of structures going on at the same time, or it looks like I have a lot of structure going on at the same time. So basically what I was just showing you here, again, going back to what I could have this. I could also have this. I already have the top one. I have this. I could have this one. But, with all of that going on, and there's a lot going on the screen right now, I'm sorry. But with all that going on, it can be kind of confusing, right? But regardless, I just kind of go to, okay, what's the most recent thing happening right now? And does that most recent thing happening right now, does it make sense? And honestly, even if these longer term things were to play out, the most recent thing that's happening right now, so this descending move that we're getting right now, it does make sense, right? Because if we have this on right here, 1, 2, 1, 2, I would be looking for another touch of this or a double top. Or possibly, if we want to not do any of that, I would be looking for another touch of this or a double top. And the descending pattern will help me get there. So it makes sense. So not a problem. So with that being the case, I just kind of delete all of this away. And I just keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? Because like the weekly can take so long to play out that I know I can just kind of keep it simple to what's, most recent going on right now. So going down to the daily, a very long-winded explanation about why I do that. But going down to the daily, we can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, basically 3. We could come lower and actually get 3 or break below that. But, 1, 2, basically 3. Then we go to 4 hour. Right. Cool. This is very steep, but if you wanted to put that on, you could put this on as well. Steeper than usual, but it makes sense, right? And then the fact that we have impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse, cool. Now we go down to the 1 hour, and then on the 1 hour, we're getting a ascending inside of this larger ascending. So that's cool too. And then we just want to see X, Y, Z, and then cool. So at this point, if we get, just kind of a trickle higher, get that touch right here, which would come in line with a completion of this ascending trend line, as well as that one, that would be great. Let me throw in a ray line and see if we coincide with any double tops. We do coincide with it's not the most significant double top that's there, right? But again, if we're talking about areas, as I always do with double tops and double bottoms. Sorry, this is so filled. I was filming something. So if we talked about double tops and double bottoms, like as areas, right? This would be like the bottom of that area. And then, we have the top of the area. But regardless, we get into that area in the form of 1, 2, 3, and then another 1, 2, 3. Top or bottom of that area, per my rules, it's a double top area. So that's what I'm looking at right now on Aussie USD, USD CAD, and Euro JPY. Still in a trade on Kiwi USD and Euro USD, and I'll update y'all on GBP JPY if I see anything on that pair. So that's what I'm looking at this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you provided some value too. Please join us again next time.